What is up, everybody? Random Random Man here, and I'm reviewing the 2014 reboot of Godzilla, which stars Aaron Taylor Johnson, Ken Watanabe, Sally Hawkins, Elizabeth Olsen, and Bryan Cranston, and is directed by Gareth Edwards. The plot centers on a nuclear physicist, played by Bryan Cranston, who is trying to find out the truth behind a nuclear meltdown that occurred near Tokyo, Japan, and his Navy lieutenant's son, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, soon becomes involved as more disasters occur 15 years later. I had moderate expectations going into this movie, as while the action looked entertaining, I was skeptical if the story was going to keep my interest throughout the whole film. Also, while I am not a huge Godzilla fan, I did see a few Godzilla movies before this one, including the 1954 Japanese classic and the unfortunately sloppy 1998 American version, so I was hoping for something better than that one. How was this version? Let's run down the whole thing. Acting and casting wise, this film has it right on the money. Ken Watanabe and Sally Hawkins deliver stellar performances as two scientists who were out investigating the various disasters that occurred throughout. Aaron Taylor Johnson gives a reputable performance while carrying the movie as it goes on, as people cited him as one of the major problems of the movie. But I did not think that was so. Maybe people expected more from him, or maybe they could not get his geeky performance from the Kick-Ass movies out of their minds. In either case, Aaron Taylor Johnson did a fine job. Elizabeth Olsen was also great as Taylor Johnson's wife, but Bryan Cranston was fantastic here, and I literally mean that, as not only is he an A-list TV actor from his Malcolm in the Middle and Breaking Bad fame, but he gives such a gripping and emotional performance for the time that he is given that really makes you care for why he's going after the mystery. Overall, great human characters used in this movie. Story-wise, which was also my biggest concern going in, the setup was actually very intriguing from the get-go, as it made you interested in seeing what would happen as Godzilla would come into play. Speaking of Godzilla, and like what other people have been saying, it does take a while for the big guy to be seen on screen, and there is also not a lot of him after seeing how the story was set up for about an hour, and the movie's running time is about 2 hours, so give that into perspective. Thankfully, your patience will be rewarded, as the plot is enough to give the audience more excitement and more anticipation for all the other things that's going to happen in this movie. Some pacing issues aside, though, that was my only major problem with the film, as all I have left to talk about is the action. Spectacular is just one word to describe the action, as the visual effects utilized here are definitely a feast for the eyes. More amazing is given that this movie was only made for $160 million, while looking like it was made for more than $200 million. And now, Godzilla. Let's talk about him. Godzilla looks very realistic here, as much of the action also does with the rest of the CGI, as the sequences where Godzilla fights two other Muto monsters are very, very well done, as cities were destroyed with copious amounts of collateral damage, and it is sure to entertain many. And for those die-hard Godzilla fanatics out there, you'll be happy to know that there is definitely some fan service present here, especially early on in the film, as I was able to point them out despite not being too centered within the franchise. I saw this film in 3D on a Movie Excel screen, and yes, see this film in 3D. IMAX or the biggest screen possible if you can, as the extra aesthetics give the action and storytelling more depth to an already fun theater experience. All this is a credit toward Gareth Edwards' direction, and he has made the best possible homage that any iconic movie monster would be satisfied to have. My final thoughts on this movie are that despite a lengthy build-up and more story being present, you will be treated to great human characters, an intriguing storyline, and action that would have anyone in the theater cheering as it happens. My final rating for Godzilla is 4 out of 5 stars. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you later on the next movie review.